Today on Faithfully Fantasy.
There's 10 days left to graduation, and how much can happen in 10 days? I think she knows all about it because of Violet's dad. Lilit Sorengail is playing a part.
Everything started with Brennan's dad, so that's for me the key. Previous chapter I said that I want to know a little bit more about Fen Riorson, and this epigraph give me all the information that I was looking for. And his days of interrogation. He was captured, he was interrogated.
What if he was interrogated and Daddy Sorengail was the scribe that was recording it all? That's why he started to go cryptic.
Hello and welcome to Faithfully Fantasy,
the husband and wife podcast talking all things fantasy fiction.
Join us as I'll be going through my first read-through of Fourth Wing. Today we're going to have a deep dive in chapters 31 and to 35, and these episodes are getting really exciting, I had to say it.
There's 10 days left to graduation, and how much can happen in 10 days?
It's crazy how to see how many things can change in such a short
and
period
you
of time.
haven't even read the last 4 chapters yet.
Yeah.
Ooh, can't wait.
Okay, so are you ready to start with the summary?
So let's jump straight into the recap. If you remember, last episode we left Violet on the mountainside with the realization that aiming lightning strikes is going to be a lot harder than she thought. Well, she's back in her room about to sort out the mess that her and Xaden made of the furniture when there's a knock at the door. We spared the awkwardness, as this time it's not Professor Carr, but our favourite Shadow Zaddy. Turns out it's not just the armoire that took a hit last night, but Violet's favourite book of Fables has a big old split down the seam. As she picks it up, she notices a note between the binding. Daddy Sorengail left her a letter. Folklore is passed from one generation to the next to teach us about our past. It only takes one desperate generation to change history, even erase it. He knows she will make the right choice when the time comes, because she's always been the best of her mother and father. After a bit of Brennan and Wyvern chat, our 2 favourite riders decide they might want to do a different kind of riding. But the thing is, Violet and Xaden, but he's too much of an emotional chicken shit to admit it, they're Violet's words, not mine, can't separate the emotion from the sex. He's not budging on his don't fall for me rule. He might have an incredible body, but he doesn't get to dictate what she does with her heart. She's going to fall for this man if she hasn't already, and he's halfway there too. They're not getting past this tonight, so she throws the aggravating man out. Violet nearly makes him choke on his breakfast though, playing with fire through the bond. Unification Day is here, and King Tauri has decided to spend the party at Basgaia. Xaden is nowhere to be found as Liam escorts Violet to the festivities. Her mung, King T, and the General Melgren come over for a little chat. Tell her how powerful she is before slagging off the marked ones, especially Xaden. How great it is to have a Sorengail close to him so she can tell them if he's planning to start another war. Not that he actually started the last one. Dane, the cheek-cupping idiot, comes over and has the absolute audacity to cup Violet's cheek and tell her how beautiful she is before distracting people so they can escape. She kindly tells Liam to go away and follows her bond towards Xaden. And for the first time since last year, she steps out onto the parapet. Violet's confidence on the parapet is astounding. Physically, she's in a dress and it's dark. Emotionally, she's declaring that Xaden wants her, not because he says it, but because he shows it with everything he does. She does admit, though, that she maybe didn't think the whole thing through, as Xaden reminds her that his shadows will catch him if he falls. He's not up to taking care of anyone tonight as he grieves the loss of his father. He's feeling the weight of the world when Violet takes his hand and tells him she's taking him to his room. She's taking care of him tonight, in more ways than one. He's admitted he's jealous of Dane, and that he's wanted her since he first saw her on conscription day. She's ready to risk her heart, and he's done fighting it. After more explosive boom boom, if you know what I mean, and a broken window, there is a panicked knock on the door. It's Garrick. They're calling the whole quadrant to formation. We are under attack. It's 4:15 in the morning and they're getting dressed quicker than they have in their lives. Xaden can't stand the thought of her being cold, so he buttons up his flight jacket over her hair. Can I just say, the pockets of his jacket are deeper, and that is just a commentary on how crap the women's clothes are for pockets.
Yeah.
Rhiannon spots his jacket as soon as they're in formation out in the grounds and laments that she wishes someone made her shatter windows. Xaden's gaze locks with Violet's. It's not a real attack, it's fucking war games. Dane's dad orders Xaden to Athbine, beyond the wards. We've heard that name before. And allows him to choose his squad. He's taking Liam and Violet, which has damped Dane seriously pissed. Xaden hits him with the hard truth that she's a whole lot safer outside the wards with him than within the wards with Dane. Talking about being hit with the truth, Dane realises that Violet chooses Xaden. He'll miss her, and Violet can't help noticing that both of the important men in her life are walking away in opposite directions. And given the one that she's chosen to follow, her life is about to change forever. They fly into the morning until they stop at a lake, around 20 minutes from Athbine. Xaden is giving Violet a cheeky leg massage when she gets the shock of the century. Is this seriously how you dragon riders spend your time? Calls a griffin flyer before Xaden throws up his shadows around Violet. But there's no point in hiding what's already been seen. She's recognisable as the youngest daughter of General Sorengail. If she's ever trusted Fen Riorson, he needs her to do it now. He has her arms pinned to her sides as he hands her to Liam. Xaden reaches the flyers and tells them they're early. Violet's heart stops. Her heart feels like it might shatter into a million pieces as she hears Xaden telling the flyers that they should have come tomorrow because they don't have a full shipment. But that's not why they're here. They came to warn them that Venin are heading north. Wait, what? Venin? But they're the stuff of Fables, aren't they? Then again, that letter from Daddy Sorengail, though. The marked ones all know, even her dragons know, Violet is the outsider here. And she'd actually make for a good ransom, according to the flyers, not on Xaden's watch. Violet is all emotions as Xaden tries to explain. Venin are real. Venin are real. Leadership are liars. We find out that there's only one weapon capable of killing Venin, and Mummy Sorengail only has one lying on her desk. They're made from the same material that fuels the wards, and that's why flyers have been raiding the outposts. Violet believes him, but she feels betrayed. But it all comes down to Dane. He couldn't tell her because he could steal her memories. We find out he did just that. That's how he knew he'd been to Athbine, and it seems like he ran straight to Daddy. They arrive at an empty Athbine outpost as Garrick finds a note. They've been sent here to die. That was a really long one. I think they're getting longer. Maybe that's what Violet says to Xaden.
Yeah, it's getting longer. Yes, but we are getting into what it is a change turn the story. So we started in the beginning. There were the traitors. There were the people who they wrote a lot of bad things, and now we start to see that change, and we start to see the people who is leading the kingdom as the one who are lying and
a little bit sketchy.
Yes, so it's a lot to talk about it. So
you suspected it, didn't you?
Yeah.
Yeah.
And to be honest, reading this last chapter, I start to feel more. I feel it closer to me because it's that kind of story that I will do. You put in first something to believe, and then you start to change it. You start to
unwind
see that
it.
Everything that you believe is wrong. Mm-hmm. And the people who you choose or you mark the wrong one, they don't know what they're talking about as the one that being right all the way along. Mm-hmm. So, should we start with chapter 31?
Yeah.
Okay. So, there's a couple of things that caught my attention on this one. So, the first thing was the letter. So, we start to see her father give us some clues. And this letter, there's some things that she will find out later what does it mean. At the moment, she didn't get it very well. But something that I saw was that her dad said, by this time, you will be a scribe. Mm. So that's the thing that made me think, okay, he was completely sure that his daughter is going to be a scribe. She'd been training, and he said, by this time, you'll be a scribe. Why did it change? And it has to be because her mother has something to do with something.
Well, she had a plan, and I think that Lilit Sorengail has had a plan all along.
Yes.
I believe that she... Now you know about the other side, and this is a bit of a wacky theory, but I think she knows all about it because of Violet's dad.
Yes.
And I think that Lilit Sorengail is playing a part.
I can see now with the little pieces that I have here. There's a comment that Seidan says after she read the whole note, and he said that's a little bit cryptic, I think is the word.
A little bit cryptic.
Yes. And Violet, she said, yes, after Brennan's death, he was a little
bit cryptic.
Exactly, which made me think, okay, everything started with Brennan's death, so that's, for me, the key. Something happened with Brennan that made his dad, her dad, start to looking for a resource about feather tales, searching kind of like the truth. Something it was off maybe for Violet's dad.
Mm-hmm.
And then when he started to investigate and started to do his research, he started to find maybe the king or the people in charge, they're just deceiving all the kingdom.
The letter was dated just a few months before his death. So for me, that means he knew they were onto him.
Yes.
He wrote a letter, he hid it in the book. He knew that Violet would find out because he expected her to rise through the scribe ranks. And that note to me is a little bit of a last-ditch attempt. He knows he's going to die, and they're close to him, and he's passing on the information to his daughter in a cryptic way.
Yes.
But why did he get cryptic in the years after Brennan?
For me, because at this point, I don't have that many details about Brennan's death, but that's the key. Something happened. So Violet's dad, he started to see that something's wrong with the information that he has. And then he starts investigating. And with the information that he's getting like this book that he knows that is forbidden. Maybe I don't know if he knew straight away that book won't be allowed in the scribes library. So he kept it as a secret project. And I think the more he was digging, the more he was discovering how dangerous was all the situation. Yeah. And then he started to be really careful what he was doing, because it's not just his life he was putting in risk, it was his family as well. Yeah. And that's why he is not giving a straight answer to Violet or maybe to Mommy Sorengail.
Yeah.
Because I think by the end when he dies, I think Lilit Sorengail, maybe they were talking, there was some suspicious, but she didn't believe. And then when he died, maybe I think by that point she found out that he was telling the truth. There was something off. And I think that year that she was not talking to Violet is related to that. Maybe she was doing her own investigation, because otherwise, what she will get one of these daggers that she had in her office that she knows that that's the perfect weapon.
But this has been going on for years, and you know Violet has grey hair.
Yes.
Is that dagger from a previous encounter, perhaps when Lilith was pregnant with Violet, came under attack? Because we know that venin drain the colour from the land. Do they also drain the colour from people and hair? And there's something to do with Violet's hair that has to do with venin, because it's lost colour. So we don't know when that dagger was from. Was it when her dad, Violet's dad, died, or was it from much further back than that? Yes. When potentially the incident that caused Violet to have grey hair.
That's going to be another interesting thing. It's going to be the hair, just the proof that she was attacked by one of these mythical creatures, or it's going to be something else. There's Violet's blood or Violet's body that has correlation with this creature.
We don't know yet, but we do meet somebody in the next book who also has grey in their hair. Not fully grey hair, but it's pointed out and then nothing else is said throughout the whole book. So perhaps we can learn something about how they might have ended up with the hair that they have.
Yes. So obviously Violet is not the only one who been affected in this way.
Yeah, and I feel like there's something to do with, how the babies, even the youngest child of the rebellion leaders was still in the womb and was still marked.
Yes.
I think there's something going on there with Violet, how she was marked while she was still in the womb.
That could be maybe one of the reasons why Mammy Sorengail makes Violet turn into a rider, because if she's been in touch with this kind of power, and maybe she's been marked somehow, and then somehow being a rider, have the power directly from a dragon is the thing that's going to help, or it's going to make her stronger, or it's going to make things change.
Yeah, so we don't know yet, but I think, and I would draw to the epigraph in chapter 37, which we're not going to cover today, but I 100% believe there's a prophecy around Violet, and I believe that Lilith had access to that prophecy, perhaps through her dad, and then Lilith acted on that and said for her to get the power she needs, she must become a rider.
So there's a prophecy, and maybe she thinks that Violet is part of that prophecy.
I think so. We don't know it's a prophecy, but there is an epigraph for chapter 37 that you'll have read by next week. And that for me is the prophecy. And that's how I sound so confident. Obviously, I don't know, but that's how the series will end. Okay.
That sounds really interesting. Can't wait for next week.
You're going to read it tonight, aren't you? You can stay up all night. So we just covered the letter. He got a bit cryptic after Brennan, and
that, yes.
We find again, I'm just teasing you here, but in the next 4 chapters, you find out something about what happened to Brennan, and it will give you some more.
Yeah, it's just 4 chapters left, so I'm guessing that in these 4 chapters are going to got so many things that's going to open all the doors for.
I think your brain might explode. Mine exploded. I was seal clapping at the end of this book.
Oh, okay. So if we carry on after the letter, the only thing that will happen in this chapter is that Violet wants to be with Zaydan. Zaydan is saying no, he's not sure that they have a future together. She is trying to find out why he thinks that he's coming with some theories as well, that maybe he's having something with Imogen that happens.
Now you know exactly why it is. He's leading a rebellion.
Yes. But I was thinking at this point that he's just thinking that she's just too good for him, that he just don't deserve her, because he's been doing so many things and she's so open and so into him that he knows that he's been, I'm not going to say lying, because he's not lying, he's just not telling the truth. He's so many things that he's hiding and he's not being honest. And that could be a problem when you see that the other person is so open. And
I hate that trope, and that's giving Edward Cullen vibes from Twilight, isn't it?
Yes, but in this case, he has a lot of people that literally their lives depend on him, plus other people that need his help, and he is the only one who believes in because his father. So it's a lot of things going on in Zaydan's head. Plus, I think the other thing that doesn't help at this point is the 1st of July. There's a special day for the whole kingdom, but it's not that much for Zaydan, because they're celebrating when they kill his father. And it has to be really hard as well, because I think Zaydan knows that his dad he was telling the truth. He was a good man. That he was trying to make a change, and he died because of that. And now he's being remembered for one of the biggest traitors of the kingdom.
Not only died because of it, he was interrogated, and let me...
Yes, that's gonna be, I think...
the last chapter.
Chapter 35.
In his last days of interrogation, how long was he in there? So he wasn't just executed, he was tortured and executed, which I didn't pick up until this read-through.
Yes, that's something that once we get to that point, I need to talk a little bit about the scribes, no more about Fen Riorson. In the previous episode, I said that I need to know a little bit more about Fen Riorson, but with a specific epigraph, give me a lot of information, and a lot of information as well about the people who's running the kingdom and how things works.
Yeah.
So we had this celebration, and we had the king. He goes to Basgiat to celebrate the anniversary of the end of the separatists. The king is talking with Violet, he's talking with Lian as well. Then Lian mentioned the Duke Lindell, that he took he was looking after him and Zaydan. And the king said, oh yeah, he's a good man, he's loyal. But this Duke Lindell, he is such an important character because he had a lot to do with Zaydan and with Lian. He's been mentioned just maybe 2-3 times in the whole book, and nothing else. And I think we haven't so many thoughts about this character.
And somebody also commented on our previous post about Duke Lindell that there's a theory going around, and I haven't seen this until I think was it Daniela?
Yes,
yeah.
Daniela.
So thank you, Daniela. That he was a plan B. So Fen Riorson knew him. He was like, if anything happens to me, you take care of my boy.
Yeah.
I think I'm going to take that a little bit further. I think there's some link to Zaydan's mother.
Mm-hmm.
I think there's a couple of things in these chapters that make me think there's something to do with his mother. But Duke Lindell could have known Zaydan's mother. He could be... You don't know anything about her yet, so I have to be careful. No. But I think perhaps maybe later in her life, she knew Duke Lindell.
Yes.
Or as Zaydan grew up. And we'll find out more about him. I'm 100% certain he's going to come back. And King Towery thinks he's loyal. I believe he's playing him. I believe he is on the side of the apostasy, the rebellion.
Yes. I definitely think this Duke Lindell, he is really close to the Riorson family. I don't know if it's with the dad or if it's with the mother. But I think when everything fell and then Fen Riorson was executed and the children, and they had to stay with somebody, he was there prepared to look after them. Yes.
He wouldn't have put so much effort into training Liam because Liam says to King Towery, I owe the Duke Lindell for my fortitude.
Yes.
And he said, or Melgren says, yes, you do, or something. Melgren is giving real bad guy energy in that scene.
Yes. Don't have that many details about Melgren, but so far there are times when he's been mentioned, he just looks like somebody that's really arrogant, somebody that he will do just whatever it takes to deliver the job or to get what he wants, to trying to be superior. But at this point, I need to know if maybe he is involved with all these things going on that has been keeping in secret.
You get once, yeah, he knows. 100% he knows, obviously. Once you get to a certain level in leadership, you know. Mm-hmm. And he's the head of the army, of course he knows. He's like ringleader number 1 in covering up, I think. Yes. King Towery and Melgren are the real... But I mean, I don't know if it's not King Tauri, is it? He's just holding a secret that they've kept for 400 years, 600 years.
It's been for generations, so he's not because of him. He's just doing the same thing that everyone has been doing for centuries.
Yeah, exactly.
Yes. So that was one of the things. The king mentioned that, yes, he's a good man. Also, the king found out the Violet's dragon term is bound to Sorengail, Satan dragon. And he's really pleased with this because he thinks, okay, it's really good. Then we had a Violet Sorengail so close to Satan.
They assume she's going to be a spy for them.
Yes.
A certain Master Atos.
Exactly. Just because she's a Sorengail, then she will do anything for Navarre, which she will. But the thing they know is that she is really fair.
Yeah.
Yeah.
So we get a big hint in this chapter that Dane's going to betray them. So you get that, Violet's going to be a spy. Violet's going to give us some information on Riorson. And then they say, Dane Atos is over there. He'd be so humbled if you would say hello. So you get, Violet will provide us information on Riorson. There's Dane. And then in a few chapters, Dane has provided them the information they need to send Xaden to his death in finger quotation marks, because I don't think he's going to die. I can't give you any spoilers.
I mean, Iron Flame is there, and I've seen hearing some quotes about him, so I know he's gonna be there.
Yeah.
Right. But I found it really interesting because I didn't know if the king or Mami Sorengail was assuming that just because Violet is so close to Satan, it will be Violet herself, the one that's going to bring the information. Or just because Violet is close to Satan, she will find out, and then Dane.
Yeah, that's a good point. That's a great point.
Yes. But the thing is, they were for win-win situation. If Violet brings the information, good. If she doesn't, then we had Dane.
Yeah.
He will do it. So it was perfect combination. What else? So, discovering this party, they were asking for Satan, but Satan is nowhere to be seen. Then Violet is trying to find it. And in this part, she tried to get rid of Liam, so she can go to find Satan, and Satan turns out is in the parapet by himself. And she's going to go to the parapet again, and this time with no shoes and a dress. That can be something no advised by Mira if I should do it the first time. The first thing that she said, nothing the wind can catch when you're on the parapet.
Yeah.
And that is the end of chapter 31.
So I want to go back to the start of the chapter.
Okay.
We learned something about Xaden, and it's really interesting. So the first time Xaden killed somebody, he couldn't keep anything down either. So he was showing, after, obviously, she just ended Jack, and she was being sick, and he was saying the first time it happened to me as well, and it shows you're human, and etc, etc. And the other thing is that she says, tell me something real. So they're talking, so tell me something real. And she says, where did you go? And this is the moment where he says, Athbine, but you can't ask me why. She accepts that because she thinks, it's secret army business, military business. It's classified. He can't tell me. But now you know he was in Athbine because he was transferring weapons to the flyers.
Yes.
She didn't actually care where he was on that night, if you remember. Mm-hmm. He said, aren't you going to ask me where I've been? And she said, no, I don't care. And she genuinely didn't care. She said, I don't care. But something's happened between that time where she's obviously started to wonder where he's going. And so I think she subconsciously suspects that he's doing something. So I thought that was interesting. And when I said about the epigraph for chapter 37 being a massive hint, I think, or a prophecy of what's going to happen.
Yes.
We hear a little bit about that in this chapter. So Xaden and Violet are talking about the book when they find the letter from Sorengail, from Daddy Sorengail. We hear about a great war among 3 brothers. I don't think it is an accident that Violet is one of 3 siblings. That's all I'm saying. Bonds could turn on a rider if they consume too much power. We know that there was an epigraph previously that suspected Brennan of consuming too much power. I can't remember the exact epigraph, but it said something like, it can quickly turn to control you.
Yes,
anyway.
I remember there was something really addictive. That if you don't have control, it will control you.
And that whole book is about the dangers of consuming too much power.
Yes.
We hear about Venin and Wyvern and the dangers of wielding power from the ground instead of the sky. You can easily draw power from the ground and eventually be driven mad. So there's some really interesting things in that. I'm really interested in the fables of the Barren, and this kind of reminds me of in Harry Potter, where you've got the tales of Beedle the Bard. It's a very similar thing, and I think it's full of prophecy. So you had the tale of the 3 brothers. You've also got a very similar tale of 3 brothers. I'm not saying, obviously everyone draws from what they read. I'm not saying it's copy. I don't think it is.
But
I just think it's I just think it's very, or it stands out to me that there would be some kind of prophecy that would not just, so the Fables of the Barren doesn't just talk about the past, it actually talks about the future and what should happen to defeat the Venin and the Wyvern. Someone in leadership is corrupt, and that's what her dad says on the note. And we don't know if he's talking about one person, if we're talking about all of them. I think he's talking about Melgren, because Melgren, he says that, and then we meet Melgren again. Obviously, Atos, he might have suspected that Dane's dad was also corrupt. He might have learnt that his wife was complicit in it. Perhaps there was, and he didn't know if he could even trust her, and that's maybe why he got so cryptic.
Yes.
So there's so much stuff going on in that note and in those fables that I'd love to get a copy of those fables. I wonder why King Tauri is spending Reunification Day at Basgayath. It sounds like it's not something he does every year. It sounds like quite a big thing, because they're saying, oh my God, did you hear he's coming?
Yeah.
So I wonder why he chose this year to come. Is that because it's Ryerson's last year and they're suspicious that he's got to the end and now he's going to join? I don't know. Or is it because Violet's there? And obviously Lilit Sorengail has been saying just how confident she is in her daughter's power. She might not say it to Violet's face, but she's certainly been saying it to Melgren and Panchek and possibly King Tauri.
I think it must be something about Xaden, because I remember one of the things that the king asks is what is the Riorson, or what is the boy, because I haven't seen it.
No, that's Melgren. He says,
Melgren?
He says, I like to see him, I like to set eyes on him.
Yes. So could be, like you say, because it's going to be the last year for Xaden, and after that they need to make sure that he's not going to be causing any trouble. They're not going to cause another revolution, with a dragon, the most powerful dragon, and he had one of the most powerful sickness as well. Yeah. So it's somebody that you need to keep an eye, because if it's going to after you, you're going to be in trouble. Yeah. Yeah.
I think you've got to remember as well, obviously Xaden's sitting on the parapet, he is very upset. I really like the description of how he looks up at the moon as if the weight of the moon is adding to the burden of on his shoulders. But you've got to remember also that Lilit Sorengail is there. She lost a son that day 6 years ago. Violet lost a brother. We hear a bit more about Brennan, and she says he would be a captain by now, or even a major, based on how powerful he was. And they also say that they've only seen a signet so powerful as Violet's only twice before her in the last few years in the Riorson boy. And you cannot deny his power. We've talked about this. The power of those shadows is absolutely insane. Mm-hmm. But they say, and in Brennan. And that, to me, it doesn't feel like, yes, mending is a powerful... But what did he do? That's not, to me, a standout. Obviously, it's rare, but mending is not particularly...
I mean, I would say it is really useful and really rare.
It's not raw power like shit. Yeah. So what did he do?
Yeah, exactly. There's one of the things that come to my mind, that what exactly he can amend and what is scale. Can he amend not only people, can only amend like really broken things like a house, a castle, a city. It's gonna like...
That's such an interesting thought.
Thing. Yeah.
We don't know the full extent of Brennan's power, and I think we're going to learn more about it in the 5-book series.
Yes.
So she's thinking about what would happen if they weren't killed or her father wasn't dead. And she said, maybe our father's heart wouldn't have given out that first time from the strain of losing him, or that final time that spring 2 years ago. So it's been 2 years now without her dad. His heart gave out. So something, he lost his mind as well. I mean, he didn't lose his mind. Maybe he got more sane because he's opened his eyes to this leadership lie. But they've talked about it twice. He was most impacted when Brennan died, and then something happened. The fact that his heart gave out a final time, spring 2 years ago, there was an event that triggered that. And I don't know. And spring, obviously... 2 months before that, he'd written the note to Violet. So there's a timeline here of events that we just don't know yet. There's something here that I think it might be De Vera that says, but I can't remember exactly who says it. Graduating classes from the Riders Quadrant are diminishing every year. And then it's absolutely bonkers to me that they would lose 10% of the graduating year in the final war games. It's totally unnecessary to lose your riders. They've made it all the way through. You just make it a little bit less risky. They're bringing this on themselves.
It's the whole thing. There's not many... They're losing everything because there are not many dragons bonding every year. They're losing that percentage dragon they're willing to bond. And then the one that get bond, they don't survive that much. By the end, when they finally can be useful for the army.
We do get a reason in Iron Flame for why.
Yeah,
but it doesn't. Yeah, I don't buy it so much. There's a really cool bit, like even the bit about it is De Vera, I think, because she's talking about everybody needs to go and get their dress, the riders' dresses on. I don't know, the formal.
Yes.
And even the Riddick, even the teachers think that Riddick is a joker because she said, even you, Riddick. And he says, what on earth am I going to wear? And she says, one can never really be sure when it comes to you. I like that. But we get a hint as well of something that could happen in Onyx Storm. We hear that third years are taught to weave wards. We know that Violet will be a third year if that is how it goes in Onyx Storm. So we expect that we might learn how to weave wards.
Yeah.
They're talking a bit about next year, and they're saying when we graduate we'll be able to have letters. And I just wondered if they have postmen and postwomen in Navarre, or are the scribes running around sending letters? What's happening?
And a male wielder.
Yeah, that would be good.
Useful, definitely.
Yeah, I think that might be all. Obviously, we've spoken about everything else around Dane cupping the cheek and...
Yeah, it's going to be a little bit more of that in the next episodes. Dane just there in the middle or everything.
Yeah. Okay, 32?
Okay, so 32, and it's just the continuation. Sidon is alone in the parapet, mourning his dad dead, while everyone is celebrating. And he is the responsible for all the one that had a rebellion relic. And he even when he has such a responsibility, he needs to look after them, make sure that they're going to survive, because he's been there for them as well, for everyone they want to actually survive. He's there helping. He has nobody actually to help him. He is somebody that is just rather to be alone and doesn't like to anyone to be close to him when he needs somebody. Because even Violet mentioned it, that when she lost Brennan, that was something really hard for her. But she had Mira and her dad. But when Zayden lost his dad, he didn't have a mother at that time. And well, I don't know, there's no mention about the mother. And his father has been treated as one of the biggest villains, basically, from the kingdom. So there's too many things going on in his head.
I read that kind of the opposite way. And I think he's appearing that he has no one, but I think he did have someone.
Mm-hmm.
I don't know why. I just read it in a different way. I've written here, Zayden had no one, ... I think that's actually a hint that he did have someone.
Mm-hmm.
And I don't know, without reading it again now, I've forgotten why I felt like that. But I did feel like that at the time.
Yes. No, for me it was more that he's somebody that he will do anything for the people that he cares about, but he won't allow to anyone who given any help or do anything for him. So it's somebody that just gives without expecting anything in change. And then when he has needs, when he has maybe he just need like that human contact, somebody that's with him just to tell him that everything's gonna be alright, or I'm here with you. He'd just rather be alone.
He's about to get lots of human contact.
Yes, and then is when we see the Violet is trying to reach him, and she is risking everything because she had no equipment to go to the parapet. Fortunately, in this time there is no storm, so that's
There's
good.
a lot of wind though.
Yes, still. But she is, I won't say a little bit angry, but she is definitely willing to take him out of the parapet.
She's determined.
Yes, and then he is like, what are you doing here? Do you realize that you can fall and die? And she, well, I can say the same to you. And then he got this shadow, they're going to protect him. And that was something that I was like, oh, you know, that he can do that with shadows as well. It's like what he can't do with the shadows.
Giant shadow trampoline. And it just falls and it goes boing and he goes back up to the parapet.
Yeah.
Or
shadow jumping. He just jumps and then with the shadow bomb.
a bungee jump.
Bungee jumping.
Bungee shadows.
Bungee jumping.
Or a parachute. A shadow shoot.
Yeah.
Or like just a hand that grabs them.
Yeah, exactly. It's so many things that you can do with the shadows as well.
Just before we get off this part,
yeah.
I just want to say how cool this bit's going to be on the TV show, because they're on the parapet for quite a long time while they're having this talk. She's going to be shouting over the wind. She's going to be nearly crying. She's going to be so emotional. And it's going to be really cool. I love the fact that it's on the parapet. She's walking the parapet, like you said, in a dress, barefoot. Look how far she's come.
Yeah.
This is 10 days to graduation. She's not only survived, she has become one of the most powerful women that's ever going to live. And it's a full circle moment. They're back on the parapet and just look how far she's come.
Yeah, about where everything starts at.
Yeah. And she says, there's more than one way to fall. So what you just triggered a thought in me there, because you said you could fall, you could die. She says there's more than one way to fall. She's fallen in love with him. She is absolutely fallen for him. There's so many times, and I'm really hoping that Rebecca Yarros is not going to kill off Zayden. But there's so many times where they say, you'll be the death of me. We should have done a tally, because honestly, and it gave me foreshadowing ideas about what could happen to Rhiannon when she said that history is going to be the death of me. And the fact that he says, you'll fall, you'll die. And she says, I'm falling. There's a different way of falling. She's not falling from the parapet. She's falling for Xaden Riorson. She's fallen. It's done. She loves him.
Yes.
Everything she learns about him makes her tumble harder and faster. It's just so ominous. And I'm really hoping that...
I know. Is this kind of thing that it's been repeated so many times in so many chapters. It's just come to your mind that Rebecca Yarros trying to say something, or it's just
she
the way
likes that phrase.
Talk. Yes.
No, it's never. I don't think it's ever that with what I've read so far. Everything happens for a reason. I love the fact as well that Violet's walking across the parapet and she's saying, this feels like Turn's spine. I've done this loads of times. And you can see every challenge they go through is a challenge that they face. Reason. Yeah, there's a reason for it. I don't know if there's a reason to make them do that on the first day when they just arrive, but it's cool.
Yes. But again, for me is why they don't put a net and then if you fall, you're not worthy, go. So you're like there to us. Go be a scribe.
Or go to the infantry.
Go to be healers. But you're not you're not right material.
Yeah.
Exactly. That's it.
It's very Hunger Games.
Yes. Anyway, so Violet is trying to take him out of the parapet and then she confesses that she loves him. Even when she's thinking that she's having something with Imogen.
She doesn't anymore. On the parapet, she's like, I know there's no one else.
No, she does. And then she says, no, he said that, why are you saying that? Because it really pissed me off that you think that.
Oh, yeah. I remember now.
And she was thinking, oh, that means that he's just been in my bed. He's not with anybody else. And then she said, okay, maybe you're not feeling anything about Imogen, but I know she's feeling something for you, for the way that she was looking at you and Gary when you were sparring. And then say, I don't want to think about you saying and take me out of the equation.
Imogen likes Garrick. Why are they not together? There's something going on there. Because they're together at the end of this, chapter 35. They're doing the search together. So they're obviously friends.
Yes.
Apparently Garrick knows. I think Rebecca Yarros has said that Garrick knows that Imogen is into her.
But he's not doing anything.
Yeah, he's not doing anything. I love Garrick. There's so much good stuff. And I've got a theory about what his signet can be by the end of this episode. You've got to also, again, imagine they're on the top of the parapet. The wind is howling. She's telling him she's been jealous. She's learning about Imogen, liking Garrick.
Mm-hmm. And there's
oh, no. So they're on top of the parapet. The wind is howling, and she's screaming about being jealous about Imogen. He's screaming back about knowing he knows the feeling. It's gonna be so good.
Yes, and that's the other thing that she's thinking about. Like, what do you mean that you know the feeling? And then when he confessed and thrashing, when she saw that Dane was kissing her, he was about to lose his shit. And she was like, what? From then you are already feeling thin for me. And then he said this thing that I just triggered a lot of things in my head when he says, I've been feeling this for you from the first second. So for me, like, how? It's just like he saw this
love at first sight, just like when you first saw me. Don't laugh. Why are you laughing?
Well, I know that he has something called grey hairs, so maybe that's why.
So, I think we'll learn more about that.
Yes.
But I just, like, this is probably where I fell for Xaden Riorson.
Mm-hmm.
Her confidence that he wants her is pretty amazing. She says, I'm going to have to look up my notes for this because it's really epic.
Mm-hmm.
You want me. You she says, you want me, I know you do. You might not say it, but you do one better and show it. You show it every time you choose to trust me, every time your eyes linger on mine. You show it with every sparring lesson you don't have time for, and every flight lesson that pulls you away from your own studies. You show it when you refuse to touch me because you're worried I don't really want you. Then you show it again when you take the time to hunt down violets before a leadership meeting so I don't wake up feeling alone. You show it a million different ways. Please don't deny it. Just imagine her shouting that over the wind at him. It's so romantic, and it's really true. You see that he doesn't say it and he pretends he doesn't, but actually it's
He's
so
so
obvious he does. And it's debatable, like you said, it's debatable when he started feeling like that. But he did say before, I made it my business to know everything about you the minute I saw you. Mm-hmm. We're starting to learn that maybe that wasn't just because he wanted to ruin her. It's
because
actually,
she was a Sorengail. Mm-hmm.
Yeah, it wasn't because of that. It was because he felt something, and she felt something too. You know she did. And I've just realised something that I can't tell you about.
Thanks.
But he, okay. Come back after you've read Iron Flame.
No, but you know why I was thinking that somehow he knew something about her before he met her. So for me, it's like, how can you feel that maybe deeper connection with somebody that you say, and you know that she's kind of like one of your enemies because she is the daughter, the person who's responsible for your dad's death. But it looks like he didn't care about it. So for me, give me this impression that he knew something about her before he met her. That maybe he had this realization about her. And then when he saw her the very first time, and then he found out that he was a Sorengail, then is when it really hit him. That maybe she was more than what he was expecting.
Maybe he knows that Lilith isn't bad. And she's playing a part. She wrote that letter, didn't she? She said, I'm formally objecting to you punishing the children and making them watch.
Yes, true. So
maybe he knew she wasn't a bad person and she's playing a part. Anyway, so many things, and I've contradicted myself a million times because I just don't know what to think.
True. But after that little scene in the parapet, finally they both go out, and then they start walking away, and he asks her, where are we going? And then she said, you're gonna take me to your bedroom, because she never been there. So it's just her trying to know a little bit more about this guy, because obviously she is deeply in love with him, but he doesn't know him, and now he's like trying to get more information about him.
She knows that he likes chocolate cake.
Yes, but
she knows that he hasn't got any siblings, which I'm suspicious. He said he's never lied to her, so maybe he doesn't know he's got siblings. That's
the truth.
He has got siblings. He just doesn't know it because I think Mummy Riorson a bit naughty. Maybe Duke Lindell. Who knows?
I guess we will find out. But they go to the bedroom, and obviously she's looking after him, take care of.
She's not looking after his bedroom window, though, is she? That's explosive.
Yeah, it's getting more intense with every single time, isn't it? But there's a part when he said when she found out that she destroyed the window, and she said, "Oh, I really need to learn how to control this." He was like, "Don't worry, I had like I think like a shield, like to protect it." And I was thinking, does it mean that he can protect her about lightning as well, or it's just at the beginning? I think in the first one, I think he was talking about that the braids they can blow away, but she was talking about the lightning. They need to control it, and then he said, "Don't worry, because I had a shield." So we're like, oh, it's maybe there's shadows can protect it with lightning.
Oh, there's nothing those shadows can't do, is there?
Yeah, but if that's the case, then again, how powerful is Satan? Because the shadows, it's every time we find out something useful that they can do as well, as a protection and then as a weapon as well.
Did you take my advice from last time and look at the sex scenes in a different light in terms of what is she distracting us from? Because there is a massive clue about one of Xaden's remaining secrets. We know he's keeping secrets. One that you don't know yet. One that we don't find out until very late in Iron Flame.
Okay.
It is written on the page. And there is no excuse for the fact that we didn't spot it as a fandom, but we didn't. Some people did. And I take my Xaden, I'll tip my imaginary hat because it's insane that people pick that up, because I was obviously way too focused on the thing that I should have been, that I shouldn't have been, and I should have been focused on what Rebecca Yarros was distracting us from. Yeah. And I can't say anything about it because I want the surprise to be as big for you as it was for me.
Okay.
But it was there on the page, and I just I think I physically smacked myself in the head when I saw it, because I was like, what were you doing? I was a bit distracted by...
Yeah, your mind was like, my chicka bow bow.
Exactly. How I missed it.
No, I mean, to be honest, when I was reading this part, I was just going through as far as I can, and I wasn't paying attention, because for me it was, okay, having sex. Okay, no.
Next time you gotta get in between the sheets.
Lines, yes.
In between the bed sheets. And pick out those things, because she did it the first time round as well, and I can't remember what it was now, but she did it the first time round. She's done it the second time round. Every time there's a sex scene, and I said it before, but these are where potentially you get the biggest clues for Violet's second signet.
Yes. Okay. We'll keep an eye next time if it happens. But so far, what I see, it doesn't look like it's going to happen anytime soon.
Did you notice during that scene as well? And I mentioned it last week in the previous sex scene. She mentions Xaden cupping Violet's face.
Yes, Violet's cheek.
This time,
yes,
Violet is the one that's cupping her cheek. I cup his face. What is that about? Did she just like that phrase?
Has to be, because it's still giving Dane's vibe every time when somebody's cupping the cheek. Yeah. So, I'm guessing you're going to keep a mystery what happened, that sexy scene that will come out later on.
Yeah, but you are going to read Iron Flame in one go, aren't you? Just to get, because the amount of time that we're spending on social media, the risk of you getting these spoilers is just getting so high.
Yes, and to be honest, it's not fun anymore when I start to see there's so many people coming with new theories, and
you have to skip it.
Yeah, I'm not allowed to watch. I know.
It'll be a way better discussion when you've read the whole of Iron Flame.
Yes. Yeah. So far, that's how I feel, and I have so much information missing, and I don't know anything.
Yeah.
So once I go through all Iron Flame, then yes, everyone now on the same page. Now let's talk about theories.
Did you spot the O word? Onyx.
When she was looking at those golden...
I've memorised every fleck in those onyx depths.
Yes.
So, Onyx Storm, Xaden, and what I liked about this is that there's gold flecks in his black eyes, which I find very, very odd. Do you have black eyes? You have gold flecks. I can't.
No,
I'm studying your eyes here. No, I don't think so. But she's got a black dragon and she's got a gold dragon. His eyes are gold and black, and there's a lot of gold and black links, isn't there?
Yeah, but I found it a little bit weird, because I couldn't picture what she was talking about, golden things in the eyes. So I was she may be taking figurative, or kind of shiny eyes like gold or something.
There's another very well-known book in the fantasy romantasy genre where we have gold flecked onyx eyes. So it's obviously just a thing with shadow daddies.
Okay. So after the sex scene, they get interrupted and it's Garrick knocking the door. And Zaydan obviously is not happy about it because he haven't finished yet after 3-4 times, I think he said. So it doesn't have enough. So he said that better somebody be dead, otherwise don't interrupt me. And he said, yeah, it's a lot of people dead. Like, what? Yeah, we're under attack. And that's the end of the chapter. And for me, we're like, oh my God, it's like something happening. The first thing that comes to my mind is the king is there in Basgard. So there will be maybe a perfect opportunity to try to kill the king. And then there's a lot of people coming to attack directly.
Yeah.
And I was excited about it because I thought it was going to be like a massive war in Basgard. But chapter 33...
You're still going to get a massive war, don't worry. I am disappointed you've skipped over a few things.
Ooh.
So, I don't think there's much about the epigraph in this one. There is a bit, because obviously it's leading into the next chapter. And to show the mercy of our great king, they'll be conscripted into the prestigious Riders' Quadrant, so they may prove their loyalty to our kingdom with their service or their death.
Yeah.
And that links to the next chapter, where they're given... Basically, actually, this might be chapter 36. They're being sent to die.
Yes.
Because they found out that they're doing something. There's a couple of things. Even if Xaden's death wouldn't kill Sorengail, I'm not sure I could survive.
Yes, but I think it's more figuratively, no, literally.
No, I want to talk to you, but you need to read Iron Flame first. There's something going on. There's going to be something going on with Xaden, something going on with Sorengail, something that could potentially break the chain reaction, but you don't know yet. And I don't. It's so hard. Just go and bloody read Iron Flame. There's one thing on the parapet where he says, are you done putting yourself in harm's way to get your point across? And she says, probably not. And he then again says, don't ever put your life at risk for something as trivial as talking to me. And she 100% will not stop doing that. We get several more instances that she does that.
Yeah.
She tells him that she loves him. This is a major thing. She has admitted she loves him. And yes, like, they're 21, they fall fast. Like, you just do, don't you, when you're 21? And actually, we fell pretty fast. Anyway, she says, even if he doesn't feel the same, at least I have spoken my truth. There is a major second signet theory going around, that she is a truth sayer. And she... not only gets herself, she knows that she needs to speak truth. She needs the truth from Xaden. So that's a real sign that that's something she needs. And a truth sayer will get somebody to
tell you the truth.
Yeah. He answers direct questions from her. She won't be channeling yet because but she won't be channeling yet because Andana isn't grown.
Yeah.
But there's a big clue here, and I saw there's an account on Instagram called Bookish Kinsey, I think. I'm sorry if I got that wrong. But she has a really interesting theory about truth sayers. I've got to say it's not my number one theory. My number one is that I think she has precognition. I think she can see future events, but I'll get into that another day. But it's a really super interesting theory. And when I read this part, this was another thing that jumped out. She said, at least I've spoken my truth. And that shows that truth is really important to Violet. And we know that signets are usually something that's really important to somebody.
Yeah.
So I wouldn't be surprised. It might be now, after seeing that video, it might be my number 2.
Okay.
Favourite signet theory. He doesn't say it, but he shows it again. So she says, I love you. He doesn't say, I love you back. There's a good reason for that. And he's quite he's quite a martyr anyway. But he won't say it because he doesn't want to feel like he's only saying it because she said it. He will want to make a statement about it, but he says, "I need you," and he doesn't reject her. He doesn't say, "I don't love you." He 100% does love her. He's just not wanting to say it just at that time.
Comfortable saying it. Yes.
Yeah. I was laughing because there's a point where she says he devours me with his tongue and teeth, and it's a bit like grim. I don't know. She says, "I'm going to die right here in this bed," or she thinks it. He says he's going to die right there with her. Another bit of foreshadowing, but that is a serious sentence. And we get here the first... Oh, is it the first admission? Probably not. I fucking love your hair. If you ever want to bring me to my knees or win an argument, just let it down. I'll get the point. So she does that. At some point in Iron Flame. She needs to win an argument. She lets down her hair. And we still don't know. So we still don't know why her hair is grey. Why is he so attracted to it?
Yeah.
There's really something. There's a link there. And I like there's a nod to the fact that he said this is totally different. But maybe it's linked to the hair because Violet says at one point she used to hate it, but now she likes it and makes her unique. He says the rebellion relic, he used to think it was a curse, but now he realizes it's a gift. And do you know why it's a gift yet?
No. There's no mention about it, why he thinks it's a gift.
Okay. I couldn't work out because if you don't know, I'm not going to spoil it. But.
Okay.
Oh my goodness, we are really fine and we're only on chapter 33.
Yes, so should we go to chapter 33 or something else?
We better do, otherwise we'll be here for a very long time.
Okay, so chapter 33, they read really quick. They go into formation. And then let's read the first one to notice that she's wearing a really interesting jacket. And after a really bad
really
attempt
deep pockets.
Yes, but this is the thing. They are really deep because he's a wing leader or he's a man, or because he needs to have big pockets to fill it up with stuff. So it's like modified. Because being short already there.
Men's pockets are always better than women's anyway. So a bit of that probably. But yeah, I think it's a clue. I think it's metaphorical as well in terms of the fact that he's got a lot of secrets. His pockets are deep. He's hiding things deep in his pockets. And also he has to fit a lot of daggers in there.
Exactly. So, yeah. Violet, after that really bad attempt to deny that it's not Sada's jacket, in the end, there was no point to hide it anymore. So she confessed that yes, it's Sada. Then I think that re-asked it, like, tell me that it was good. Then she say, yeah, I blow off his window. So yeah, must be good.
With the jacket, you can tell it's serious now because he cares more about the fact that she's going to be cold than he does about what people will say about her. So he cares now.
Yes.
It's serious.
I think at this point he's taking seriously that he's her boyfriend. That he is like the
she
one.
Loves him, yeah.
Yeah, he's the one who needs to look after him no matter what. It's kind of like official, kind of. And once they go outside, he's kind of having this, I think maybe grumpy face, kind of like the impression that I got from Violet. And then when he said just fucking war games, that we've been interrupted just to play a little game. And then Tern and Darna rise. And Darna has like a new feature as well. Now she can fly far away with Tern. You need to just clip turns. And then something that happens during this thing caught my attention as well is she's thinking that okay, now they're going the different ways. So they're going different way because he's a third year. She's going different path because she need to keep with first years. And she was thinking, oh my god, I had to say goodbye to him with everyone here, everyone looking, and then he was coming, and oh, it's going to happen in front of everyone. And then
So if you're saying goodbye to anyone, it's him.
Yes, exactly. And then it's Dane, the one who says, "The fuck you are."
Yeah.
But for me, it was weird, but weird and no weird, because we know Dane hates Satan, but we know as well that he likes to follow rules.
For all his rule following, he treats Satan really badly.
Exactly. So how is possible that, oh, Violet, you know that I love you, but if I see you there, you're going to die on the threshing, there's nothing I can do because there's against the rules. And then say that he's the wing leader. The fuck you are.
Yeah, doesn't respect him at all, does he?
Yeah, so
he's panicking. He's
works.
panicking. Dane knows something's going to go down at Athbine because he told him.
Yes.
And he doesn't want Violet to get caught in it.
Yes, so this is a really interesting thing, because we see that he was so opposite. That no, you're not going to take it, you're not going to be safe with you, you're going to make her die. And maybe he was talking with reasons behind. And then he found out that she was with him. They're like, oh, you two are together. Okay, bye. And was like, he doesn't care.
No, he told her he would miss her. He knows there's nothing that they can do. And I love this interaction between Xaden and Dane. Dane didn't see it coming. Mm-hmm. And like I said, for all that rule following, treats Xaden like, he doesn't treat him like he's 2 ranks above him anyway. She's a first year and Athbine is beyond the wards. You're not saying that about Liam. Mm-hmm. Liam's the best in our year. He's great. He's going to be fine. Dane still does not recognise how powerful Violet is.
Yeah.
And Xaden sticks up for her. He says, and she's a lightning wielder. And it does. Dane.
Every episode, something about Dane.
There's something about Dane.
Yes. But yeah, for me at this point, because I knew that, well, after everything happens, for me, he was kind of like saying goodbye to her. It was like he knew that she won't come back because she's going to the death sentence. But the thing that it was like triggerment, there was, okay, maybe when he found out that she was with him, what he felt, because at this point he didn't know anything about it, and maybe what he was thinking is that Violet was the one who was in love with him, and there was a few things, but after the threshing he kissed her, and then he said that, oh no, we took it too far, we can't do this, I'm sorry, it's not your fault, it's my fault, when she didn't want it. And maybe at this point, he was like...
still thinking he had a chance. Yeah, because he's so big-headed.
Exactly.
He thinks he's great.
And then when he found out that actually he was with Zayda, then it's just... You can see that like completely changed guy. Yeah. Like, okay, I wish you the best. I will miss you.
No, so you read that differently. I think he's in a panic and he's like, I'll miss you. He knows there's nothing he can do. Xaden is 2 ranks above him. He realises, he accepts, he's starting to accept it. We'll find out. We found out why. He says he'll miss her. But the look in Xaden's eyes is really interesting, because it says here, the look in Xaden's eyes is similar to the one that one in Sorengail's, and suddenly it dawns on me why she chose him. They're both ruthless and willing to annihilate whatever stands between them and what they want. So it's not just him accepting it, he's also seeing that look in his eyes. Yeah. And even Violet says, like, Sorengail, like, she knows Sorengail, but she can't help seeing her as the death sentence that she is. She is really vicious, and I think we don't see enough of Sorengail in this book to really appreciate just how formidable a dragon Sorengail is. Mm-hmm. And I feel like that and that reference to Sorengail being a death sentence, and even if Xaden's death doesn't kill Sorengail, there's been a lot of that in this chapter, and it's like really foreboding. But I don't know what's going to happen, and something major happens in Iron Flame, and I still loved it. I was seal clapping when it happened, because I was like, this is such an awesome story, even though it's like terrifying and traumatizing and upsetting. It's just such a good story.
Yes. But after this, then is when you send your summary, then she say how then said I'm going to opposite directions, and she choose where path she's going to follow, and she know that will change everything forever.
Yeah, she just doesn't realize how much.
Yes, she was completely true.
Yeah.
And that's the end of chapter 34.
Yeah.
So.
My turn?
Yes.
So the epilogue doesn't make much sense to me here, and I need your help.
Mm-hmm.
The inability to control a signet is just as dangerous as never manifesting one.
Mm-hmm.
I think it might be talking about Dane, but we don't know that yet. So is he just... I don't know. Is it that he can't control... He can't help but steal memories? Or I don't know if it's talking about Dane. I think I'm struggling. It doesn't make a lot of sense for this chapter. Did I miss something? The inability to control a signet is just as dangerous as never manifesting one.
Mm-hmm. No, to be honest, when I'm thinking all the situations about this chapter, there's nothing I can think is related to that.
No.
So might be something later that will be related to the battles. So
I can't think of anything off the top of my head.
Yeah.
It feels like a bit of a random one. But maybe somebody can help us point that out.
yeah.
We get more, you'll be the death of me, wanting you'll be the death of me. I think it's weird
Mm-hmm.
that Dane's dad has not been around all year,
Mm-hmm.
but now he's in charge of the scenario, the final war games. Like, it's not a teacher, is he? He's just one of their
Yes.
mum's advisors. I think he went to Lilith and said, I really want to do this. And she was like, all right, just go away.
Yes, but the thing is, in which point he gets more involved, when he starts to see that maybe Dan is giving information about what Satan is doing,
100%.
and he doesn't trust Satan at all, and that he needs to be closer to start maybe manipulating the outcome of these games, because in the end that's exactly what he does.
Yeah, exactly.
Mm-hmm.
You mentioned it, but Rhiannon covered the Xaden's insignia on the jacket. She's a really good friend. She knows that Violet doesn't need to hear Dane lecturing her about her choices. Well, not for another couple of pages anyway, until he realises.
Yeah, didn't work that long.
No, but she's such a good friend, and she does it so quickly that she doesn't. But I wonder if Xaden put the jacket over her hair, because it makes a really big deal. Twice it says it traps my hair.
Mm-hmm.
Or he said she's put it over her hair. He traps my hair with it.
Yes.
I think he's done that to try and hide her hair, because her hair beyond the jacket collar is grey, and he thinks in the big crowd of people she's going to be less obvious that she's a Sorengail because her hair's trapped in the jacket. So it doesn't really matter anyway. He's trying to hide the fact that it's her. I don't think it's that important. I just feel like there's a couple of extra things where when she's packing her stuff, she puts Xaden's jacket in with her stuff.
Yes.
And she specifically says, in case anyone snoops around my room while I'm not here. I'm not sure who she thinks would do that. Xaden's warded her door, but if she thinks someone's going to be snooping around, she's not at all worried about the book that her dad left and the letter. She's more worried about the jacket, which is a bit odd.
I guess it's in case maybe somebody want to blackmail Satan or something. They have proof that they've been together.
Maybe.
But yeah, it's talking about it, she's kind of like forgot her role has been more than nobody else can go in and say than herself. Sometimes it feels there like some rules or stuff that happened in previous chapters. When you go a little bit further, it doesn't
apply anymore.
anymore.
Still applies. Anyone can go in her room as long as they're holding her hand.
Mm-hmm.
Because he didn't want us. Oh wait. Sorry, I think that comes later on. Sorry.
Yeah, but the other thing I was
alert.
thinking about is, when said he did the changes. So he went to Dane and asked her, okay, I'm taking Violet with me, I'm taking Lian and Imogen as well.
Mm-hmm.
What happened to the rule? I think it was from the Codex as well. The one from the relief
Yeah.
can be more than 3 together, and he has a whole squad.
That isn't an omission. There's a very good reason for that.
Mm-hmm.
And Dane's dad just shows how stupid Dane's dad is, because he literally says there's no rules. You wouldn't be in the field. There'll be no rules. You can build your squad however you want it. Because
He knew that say that he's going to tell all the ones.
yeah, and he wants him to, because he wants them all to die. But he sets himself up for a massive howler by doing that, and I just can't wait for you to find out why.
Mm-hmm.
There's a real reason why more than 3 can't gather together, and Dane's dad has fucked up big time. And it's so good. You're going to find out next week. The fact that you think it's definitely not a plot hole, it's there for a reason, and it's really, really good. But Dane's dad's smile slips, and it makes Violet feel really uneasy. He thinks he's got Xaden. He thinks he's nailed him to the cross, and he absolutely hasn't. In fact, I don't know that you do find out in this book. I think you find out right at the beginning of the next one. Yeah.
Okay.
Something that struck me as a little bit odd, and maybe this builds from your rules that have happened previously and then they don't apply anymore. It says the kitchen staff are handing out rations, but I thought the riders were the kitchen staff. It said that there's chefs and stuff, but it was only the riders that were dishing.
Yes.
They're giving up. Anyway, I thought that was weird. And then something that's taken up quite a lot of my time today before recording the podcast. I have been looking for Ressen, Athbine, and Eltuval. Eltuval is the post that Dane is wanting to go to. Dane knows he's supposed to be there, and you'll find out when we read more about the letter that Garrick has found. But they just say they're in the southeast, and then they approach around the cliffs of Draelor. So I know roughly where they are. They're in between the cliffs of Draelor and the Poromil province. Mm-hmm. But they're not marked on the map, which is really interesting. I'm not sure why, but I did some Reddit searching, and people have created a map, and it's in the area that I thought it would be. But I even checked the Iron Flame map, and they're not there either. That's really interesting. I had a bit of a blast from the past when the people are on the flight field and they're throwing up because they were drunk from the night before, and this is like their final exam. I have definitely been I took my final exams at university really seriously because I'm a nerd. But some people didn't. And I have definitely witnessed this happening just the morning of the final exams. People are throwing up because they've been all night in the nightclub. And I'm not saying I didn't do that. I just didn't do it before my finals. So
more sensible.
I was really poorly actually during my finals, but not because I'd been drinking and dancing all night. There's a bit of a foreshadowing here, potentially. Rhiannon says, I can almost taste the squad leader designation for next year. Do you think she's squad leader material?
Yeah, I think she gave me a little bit of Mira vibe as well. And Mira is somebody that's really important as a leader as well. So I think she has all the boxes to be a squad leader. Yeah.
And then the final thing around rank, Ten does not like Dane, does he? Because Ten's standing in Kath's spot. He's snapping at Kath.
I find that really funny.
Yeah, he's just like, I'm here and this is me, and Kath, it doesn't matter what rank you're.
Yeah, try to tell me something.
Yeah, exactly.
See what I do. Yeah.
That's all. So we can jump into chapter 34.
Okay. Perfect. So chapter 34. So this chapter is really short. So it won't be a problem to go through all that really quick because it's short. So they start flying away. Then a few minutes before arriving to the station, they start to get some supplies. So then they go to like hiding place just to spend some time together.
Get a leg massage.
Yeah, because obviously, like I said before, 3 or 4 times like sex, it wasn't enough.
They're not going to do that.
Well, there was like some talking about
but
it.
Like
he said,
young love.
we didn't finish, and we had 10 minutes. Like 10 minutes, yeah, bring it on. But again, they go interrupt them before the start, and this is a surprise for Violet. Somebody is talking, and turns out there's Griffon. Well, at the time, I took it as a Griffon rider, but it's a Griffon flyer. That's something to say then later on. Correct.
No, that's weird, isn't it? Halfway through an argument, can you imagine my response if we were having an argument and you decided to correct me on something?
Technically.
Oh my goodness, that would tip me over the edge. Same as you. If we were fighting about something and I decided to be like, I'm sorry, I'm just going to correct you there. It's not a rider, it's a flyer. You'd be like, raging, yeah, piss off, it doesn't matter.
Yes. But I don't know if for you it was the same, but for me, once I saw that this woman was talking to Zayden and the way they were talking, it was kind of like they know each other. Mm-hmm. And then Leah and Imogen and Reda arrives, Even Turn arrives as well. And for me it's so obvious now that Zayden is with these people. And they were like, Violet, no, calm down, because it's hard to get some lightning in the sky. So, no, calm down.
Calm down.
Yes. He knows that she is dangerous even for herself at this point. And then finally he said, you are earlier. And then she can't believe it. Like, oh my God, what's going on here? They are together.
Yeah.
That's pretty much the end of the chapter.
Oh my God, I've got loads of... Well, I haven't. I've got less stuff than normal. Do you want to take a guess where I want to start?
Epigraph.
So this is really interesting. And this is where I need this historical timeline. Although... there's a lot of epigraphs. I can't remember if this one is, but written from an unedited history of Navarre by Colonel Lewis Markham, which is Professor Markham. It's quite clearly edited, Markham. But anyway, this one's interesting. Talks about the first Griffin attack 1 year after unification, 600 years ago, at the trading post of Resson, which is very close to Athbine. The post has changed hands no less than 11 times since. So is that about to happen again? But so you had unification. We talked about 600 years ago. We had a previous epigraph that talks about... Hang on. Was there one which talked about... Oh gosh, it was chapters and chapters ago. It said... We won against General Darramore. I'm just dragging this from the bottom of my memory. So we defeated General Darramore. That was the last time that the Griffins and the Riders fought together.
Yes.
Then their allies sailed home, because we've got Isle Kingdoms, and the allies sailed home. And then they lived jointly under the Navarre was unified, and we lived jointly together, happily ever after, under the protection of the Navarrian wards. So General Darramore, who would have been the Venin, leader. The Griffins and the Riders defeated him. Then the Riders made their wards. The Griffins went home. 1 year after, the Griffins attacked Riorson. So that, for me, shows the Venin weren't defeated 600 years ago. It's just that Navarre was protected. The Griffins went home to Poromil and Signisson, the two provinces. Venin was still coming. And does that mean General Daramar was never actually killed? Does that mean that they just lied and said, oh, that history by Markham said we were all fine, we defeated General Daramar, then we lived happily ever after. But actually it never stopped, because only 1 year after that. And so this war has been going for 600 years. Mm-hmm. How powerful have the Venin got? How much of the barons have they drained? And that's why it's interesting for me, because we've heard earlier on the history that the scribes want you to hear, and now we're starting to hear actually. So is General Daramar invincible? Is he still around? Was he defeated, and then did a new general just come up? Up the ranks. So that for me is really interesting. I thought you would. They mentioned about the Cliffs of Draylor, and you know how you were quite frustrated by the height of the dragons. Well, the Cliffs of Draylor are thousands of feet high. These are massive. Anyway,
just to keep the dragons inside, I guess.
Just keep the griffins out.
Yeah,
because griffins can't fly at high altitudes. We know that. You get quite a good description of what it feels like to cross the ward. So it feels like something's pulling, and then it snaps, and then the magic is wilder. It's harder for dragons to communicate outside the wards.
Yes.
Xaden has to take that into account when he's planning his squad, etc. There's also, when they arrive at the lake, they're not the first riot to rest there. So I don't know if he's talking about the last time Xaden came here to supply weapons, or was it something else?
Yes.
Liam tells Violet that he thinks that she's in over her head. I think he really cares about Violet, and he knows that Xaden's priorities are the rebellion. It's not a rebellion. I think it's called the revolution. Another time in some point. And he's worried for Violet. He really is her friend at this point, and he cares about her a lot.
Well, she saved his life, so now he owes his life to Xaden and to Violet as well.
Violet, yeah.
Yes.
And she says, don't turn into Dane on me. And then she turns into Dane on him. Did you notice? So she said, I'm sorry you're here because of me. And he's like, hang on, I'm not actually just here because of you. I'm here because Xaden wants me, because I'm good. And she told him not to do a Dane, and then she just did a Dane. To Dane on someone is to basically not believe in their potential.
Yes.
And think that it makes me think of the Taylor Swift song where she says, you tell me it's not about me or something, and then she says, but what if it is? And that's the Dane for you. You tell me everything isn't about me, but what if it is?
Yeah.
You've covered the fact that he was allowed to have more marked ones together. Daddy Atos thinking he's won the war, but not at all.
With plan.
Yeah, and she says, so this is another point about maybe the truth sayer being her signet. And we do know that a truth sayer is a signet because we meet one later, so it's not just a random thing. Okay. She says, hell, compared to him, I'm an open book. And this is another thing about how everything's got to be in balance, and he's really secretive. So is she someone that can tell when he's lying, or that can get the truth out of people? And she literally says, hell, compared to him, I'm an open book. And that's another. So this theory is really interesting, and it's starting to make me think, hang on.
There's another part, I think it's in the next chapter, when they're talking, and Xaden is the one who said, I never lied to you.
Yeah.
So it could be because choice or because he feels that he can't lie to him.
Yeah, I don't think so yet because Andana isn't channeling. But the fact that Violet really needs the truth is something that he can pick up on. And when Ten knew this big secret. He obviously is bonded to Sorengail. It's much more important. It's the only one that's stronger than her, and he says that later. But Xaden kind of she says like a rucksack, hands her to Liam with her arms pinned down by the side. Ten roars at Liam. So Ten is feeling guilty. He's feeling angry with Xaden. We find out why. He roars at Liam so badly that Liam drops and he's like, okay, no touching, I got it, I got the idea.
Handmade, yeah.
But Ten is like fiercely protective of Violet at this point because he's so pissed off that he wasn't allowed to be the one that told her. And you can imagine his attitude. Anyway.
Yeah.
So that's it. There was a few extra bits, but not a lot. I think chapter 34 and chapter 35 are quite small or quite short, but so much happens at the same time.
Yes.
Strange.
Okay, so should we go to chapter 35?
Yeah.
Okay. So in this one, actually, I take notes of the epigraph.
Ooh!
But this is because previous chapter I said I want to know a little bit more about Fen Riorson, and this epigraph give me all the information that I was looking for. And the thing that straight away caught my attention when they say, and his days of interrogation, because I always thought that he was captured and straight away they just taken to the kingdom, called Satan or the people to watch how the dragon killed him. But no, he was captured, he was interrogated.
What if he was interrogated and Daddy Sorengail was the scribe that was recording it all? And that's why he started to go cryptic, and that's why I didn't even think about it until now.
Aha moment.
There'd be a scribe in the room, wouldn't there?
Yes, because somebody needs to record everything. Because Marhal is the one who said that that's another thing that comes to my epigraph thing. All he came before he's accused King Taurin and all who came before and a conspiracy now be a repeating for this historian, and that's Louis Marhal. So you can tell that scribes can choose what has been told to the people. And it wasn't Louis Marhal, the one who's there, because he's saying they're not repeating by this historian. So he wasn't there, but somebody was.
He knows, though. Markham knows.
Yes, but yeah.
Because he's edited his history.
I think you had a good call. Maybe
Daddy Sorengail
was there.
And you just wait until the end of the book. Fen Riorson will have been saying some really crazy stuff that would have sent Violet's dad crazy. That is, you can't know until the end of next week. But I think I've got something.
The thing is, Brennan died the day he's been captured. So I don't know if Daddy Sorengail would be allowed to be there in front of the man that potentially killed your son. Or maybe because of that, he asked, I need to be there, I need to see this guy, why he killed my son, why he is doing all these things, maybe as a favor. And then maybe he's saying, I didn't kill her, this is happening, you're being telling lies, and then no, it can't be right. And then when he starts to do investigation, they start to find out that, shit, actually he's right.
So you don't think Fen Riorson killed Brennan?
I know they said that he was the one who directly...
according to scribes.
That's the thing.
Yeah.
Right now, I
can't wait for you to hear
by
next week.
By this point, I don't believe anything the scribes said, because I can see they've been selective with the information. They're not telling the truth. They're telling just why they believe the people needs to know. So when you had this kind of stuff, then you can't trust them at all. You
Yeah.
need to find, like Daddy Sorengail said, you need to find where the information comes from.
Yeah.
You know, who is telling the story. So
I think Daddy Sorengail was in the room when Fen Riorson was interrogated.
that will explain why everything started, isn't it? That will explain why he started to maybe get crazy when he started to find out that Fen Riorson was telling the truth.
He was shot, his heart was given out. Like, he's been telling these stories to his kids for years.
Yes. And maybe it's just the guilty thing, because then he will know that Fen Riorson died.
Yeah.
For telling
So
the truth.
this is why I'm
He was right.
I'm desperate to know what rank Violet's dad was, because they do say that when you learn that once you get to a certain rank, you're brought into the secret.
Mm-hmm.
But I just feel like that would be so good. That could be the onset of all these issues. His heart gives out. He starts getting cryptic because he knows something is not like, it's super classified. He can't talk about it.
That's what we were talking before, and right in the beginning of this episode.
Yeah.
He was like something else off, but if he's been there interrogating Fen Riorson, that will explain everything. Maybe that's the reason we don't know anything about him at the moment.
Yeah.
Because if Rebecca Jarrow said that, yeah, he was there, then boom, everything will be explained.
Mm-hmm.
But at this point as well, I don't believe that Fen Riorson was the one who killed Brennan. And I told you, I can't remember which episode was, but a few episodes ago, at this point, there's so many questions about Brennan's dad that I start to have my doubts about it.
Mm-hmm.
I don't know if he's actually dead or what happened actually when he died. Maybe, he was fighting against these Venons, and then that's how he knew. Maybe he died in that time, but he fought at this mythical creature before. That's how he knows a little bit about how the power can consume you, because he has said it before.
Mm-hmm. Do you remember my theory that I said right in the beginning, that maybe Nellin was a Venom?
Yes.
That's a pure theory. Like, it's a theory. And I've got, like, I keep saying I've got my unhinged thing.
That for me, until this moment, that's still a mystery. Why Nellin trying to bring Brennan back from that?
And how did he do it?
Yes. So,
Did he channel from the source?
Yeah.
We don't know.
But the thing that's clear for me by this point is that Fen Riorson, he was a good man. He was telling the truth. He was trying to help the people, trying to get rid of the king that he didn't believe was doing the right thing for the kingdom. And Louis Marham is just saying that no, he was just a madman. They were talking nonsense. They didn't even bother to talk about it.
Yeah.
So this cries, you can't trust them. Yeah, it's from the epigraph.
Yeah.
We didn't even start at the chapter.
And we had a brand new theory that we'd not even thought about before. I don't even think I've ever... Well, I definitely haven't read that before, but I'm not massively, like, trolling theories, but... Yeah.
At this point, I had no access to theories, so just a little bit... But just
You could hear it in my voice where I was like,
Yeah.
What if?
Okay, so we started with the chapter. Satan said to Violet that, yes, he'd been helping these flyers because they're venom, they're real, and the only way that they can die with these special daggers. Mommy Sorengail has one in the office, and that might be the reason, because she knows about everything. So Violet is thinking as well about the letter that his father gave it, and she started to think that actually that started to make a little bit of sense about all these crazy things going on.
Yeah.
And even in turn, it said that I chose you because you are a really smart person. Don't let me down. And she was like, what they're expecting from me to do when I can see that he's betraying the war, he's doing like the stuff that his dad was doing.
But that's 3 times as well in the last 3 chapters that there's been mention of her smart. When he was on the parapet, he said, "You're the smartest person I know." So that was Zayden, "You're the smartest person I know." In the letter that her dad left her. I know you'll make the right choice at the right time. So there's a lot of pressure on her. So first, it's her dad expects her to make the right choice. Xaden expects her to make the right choice. Ten expects her to make the right choice. Like the three really important men in her life.
Yeah, and the right choice is going all against what she's been believing.
Yeah.
So that's the thing. And I think it's in this point where you can see that she feels betrayed completely, because she sees that everyone that is around her, everyone has a rebellion relic. And everyone knows about it. Nobody is surprised about they having in touch with this flyer. When they're talking about the Brennan, they're just talking about like, oh yeah, that's fine, that's normal. It's something that we know already. So she realized that she's the only one that doesn't know anything about what's going on. Even Taryn and Darna, they knew. So she's feeling betrayed first with the man that she loves, and she gives everything. Then she feels that he was just using her. And then with the dragons as well, that she bond. They knew everything and they didn't tell her, or they didn't trust that she will do the right choice if they tell her. And Satan has a really good reason, because she's so close with Dan, and they have this thing that's constantly touching their face. So Satan knew that anything, and they can tell her, he might find out as well, and that's why he's limiting as well all the information that the flyers are telling him, because the flyer went just to warn them there's some bands really close to that area, so just like be prepared. And even he is like, okay, don't give me too much information because we don't want to risk everything.
Yeah, I don't like that really, because they're unprepared, and he's unprepared because he cuts them off.
Yeah.
Like, obviously, you know what they're gonna say. Like, surely you can work it out. And they're unprepared for that because they don't want to know, because it's too dangerous. What he should be doing is teaching her how to shield Dane out.
Yeah. But so many things going on right now in Violet's mind, because in the end she said that yes, she believed that he's just helping to defend themselves against this Brennan, and not just because they're attacking as well riders with their weapons that Satan is providing to these people.
Yeah.
So you can tell that Satan, he knew from the beginning everything that actually was going on out of Navarre. And he knows that these people need their help and they need to fight together.
And do you remember when, I think it was in the previous episode, when we talk about the visit to Montserrat?
Yes.
And we were talking about I was convinced there's another reason why he was there. He was using it as an excuse, the fact that the dragons were bonded. Imogen went missing for a few days. His bag was a lot lighter when they were leaving. He was 100% taking a shipment to Montserrat. The Griffin flyers attack straight after.
Yeah, they were like a distraction now, I can tell. So they can collect the weapons they need. Yeah.
Yeah.
So yeah, little by little everything started making sense, and you start to see like the full picture.
Yeah. And sometimes these things don't even make sense until you go and read the book again. Yeah. Like, or unless you have someone like me who tells you, do you remember when they said that? It was because of this. I'm such a nerd.
Yeah. But after this, they go into this station when they need to be there. And the first thing they call the attention is that this place is completely desert, which is odd because they're expecting to see, I think they mentioned like 200 people or something like that, like really big army, but there's nobody there. And then it's Garrick, the first one to say that he found a letter. The letter is for Satan. But before they go to this letter, Satan started to ask questions to Violet, like Dan is touching your face, and he even showed like doing, yeah, but he does all the time because he is my friend, not because he's trying to do something dodgy.
Violet.
Yes, and then Satan starts to see that there's something wrong. That this is not part of the game. There's something off in all of this. And when Dane starts to come to his mind that she's been touching Violet's face, then he started to see he did when I told you that I would be in this place. And oh fuck. Then he knows and then he told to
he went to his daddy.
And then when he opened the letter, then said that it had the confirmation that they've been sent there just to die.
Yeah.
So the mission they had is survive if you can.
There's more to the mission that you'll find out in the next chapter than just die. But Dane and Daddy, I don't know if we know Colonel Atos' name, but Dane and Daddy Dane are 100% behind this.
Yes.
Although I don't think Dane knows 100% of the picture. I think he thinks he's doing the right thing. Mm-hmm. If he knew more information, he might act differently, I think. So there's a few things here that I think are really interesting. So he gets Xaden when the flyers arrive at the lake, and they say it's a town just near to Drathus, which is, and they start to explain where Drathus is. He snaps back at them. I know where Drathus is. Mm-hmm. There's a reason he knows where Drathus is. Why has he been there? What does he know about Drathus? Mm-hmm. What happened? Did something happen with his dad at Drathus? Is there somebody there that he knows? Loads of stuff.
Yes.
Loads of questions. And the flyer also says, if you ever think you'll convince a Sorengail to risk their neck for anyone outside the borders, then you're a fool. Mm-hmm. I'd just like to remember that, because that for me is potentially what Violet's all about, and what maybe she's not the only Sorengail. Maybe Daddy Sorengail did it. Maybe there's other Sorengails that did it, and
Brennan.
Maybe are still doing it. You don't know about Lilith. So I feel like that's a clue there that says if you ever think you'll convince a Sorengail, I think that just means that Sorengails are playing the game. Mm-hmm. I thought it was interesting about the ransom as well. What do you think King Tari would be willing to pay to get Violet back? If they did, so pay like a, hypothetically speaking, what happens if they kidnap Violet?
Well, I think he will willing to pay a big quantity for her because she's a Sorengail. That's the first thing. But she's bonded to Tarn. There's one of the most powerful dragons, a part of Coda. Mm-hmm. And she is a lightning wielder. She's the weapon.
Yeah.
If she manages how to control it and make him even more powerful, she will be able to defeat a whole army just by herself.
Yeah.
So from that point of view, she is really valuable for the kingdom. So I think
they'd just pay whatever it takes. They would never be able to catch her. I mean, you've got Ten, you've got a lightning wielder, you've got Xaden.
Shadow wielder.
Yeah.
Sorengail, of course.
Could Imogen just make him forget they even saw her? Like that would be... There's so many things. Bodhi's signet. Really good. While we're talking about the signets of the marked ones, I'm going to go and give a theory. And even though this comes at the end of the chapter, but you mentioned it, Garrick finds the note. Mm-hmm. It could be anywhere. You'd expect it to be like somewhere obvious because Xaden was supposed to find it, was for Xaden. Mm-hmm. But Rebecca Yarros has previously said that Garrick would be the person that she would want to have on a desert if they were stuck on a desert island. I think he can find stuff. I think he maybe has a
special power to find useful things that will help.
You could imagine something in your head and you would know exactly where to find it. Mm-hmm. So you can just, like a Google Maps.
Yeah, maybe like a special sensor that you don't know what you're looking for, but you know the one you find is going to be useful.
Yeah. I don't know. Maybe there's something to do with a finding thing.
Okay.
And so I just thought that was interesting. But I don't think Violet could be kidnapped in any situation like that. Mm-hmm. The flyers would just be absolutely overruled. There's a good bit where she says, "You're such a cliche. You're a villain hiding in plain fucking sight." That bit is like, he's not, is he? But she's in the point where she still thinks he's betrayed her and she feels sick with betrayal. And she basically wants to kill him. And Liam's like, I think she means it. And Satan says, I know she means it. And then he still proceeds to correct her, like we said, around the fact that it's flyers, not riders.
I think it's because deep inside, Satan knows that he's doing the right thing. And if a Violet had all the information that he has, she will be agreed. She will do it the same.
Yeah.
So I think it's more like, okay, I'm not going to say anything else because I know once you have all the information, you'll be agree with me.
Yeah. I thought you'd call out the line that Xaden says because it's really your thing in terms of the stories that you like to tell. Did you ever stop to think that sometimes you can start out on the right side of a war and end up on the wrong one? And that's just summed it up completely, hasn't it? That she's having to switch gear here, and you genuinely believe that. And this is true, and we said this last week, this is true in global conflicts, that you believe the propaganda that you've been fed as a child, as an adult. It's really hard to see through the propaganda when you're living in the country that's spouting it, because it's everywhere. Especially in countries where your access to information is restricted, and you've only got a single source of information, like a state news channel. That's the only thing you've got, just like run by the scribes, because they just tell you what you want to believe. And we see that in the world now.
Yeah.
And it's just so interesting, the importance of information. And then she finds out that he's been supplying weapons, and she wants to know, she says, weapons that are used against the riders. Are the weapons used against the riders? They've got good weapons. Why wouldn't they use them? Because they're not attacking Navarre because of... Well, they are, because they disagree with what Navarre are doing, because they're keeping safe behind their woods. But they're also trying to get something. They don't mind how many riders die, how many dragon riders die in that attempt, because they're saving their people. They're desperate. And I wonder how Xaden feels so confident that the Griffin flyers are not using these weapons also against riders. But I guess it's for the greater good, isn't it? And yeah.
Yeah, because if you remember, I can't remember exactly which chapter it was, but when they had the first battle brief, and they're talking about there was a place that being attacked by flyers by the time.
Somerton? Oh,
yeah,
no. Maybe that was the classified one.
I can't remember which one was.
Yeah.
But they were talking about, okay, that's really hard. That look like really desperate thing. Yeah. Why they will do that? And then say that, they were looking for something. So that was like one of the first clues. And then what we have, they want so desperately. So they're looking for these weapons to be in front of them.
It's what fuels the wards, isn't it?
Yes.
You're not supposed to know what that is yet. We get a bit of information again about, I'm convinced that there's a prophecy here. We get another bit injection. One brother bonded to a griffin, one to a dragon. And when the third grew jealous, he drew directly from the source, losing his soul and waging war on the other two. It's not a coincidence that Violet is one of three. Yes. It's not a coincidence that she became a rider. It's not a coincidence that we have suspicions around Brennan's downfall, and there's something there. It's a prophecy. Yes. And I can't wait to see it. It's going to be really heartbreaking and hard, but anyway. I think there's a bit of a contradiction in these pages around, on one page it says, my dad always told me the truth rarely needs effort. And then she said, why is it so hard? You turn the page and said, why is it so hard to believe? and he said, because it hurts to think that that you've been lied to. It hurts. Like, truth is hard, and it's really strange that her dad's perspective is not the same as Zayn's perspective on that. And it's all because of Dane. He's now the one who's sure that she loves him. So from the parapet last chapter, was it parapet last chapter? No, the one before.
Yeah, 34.
And she was saying, you want me. Now he's saying, you love me. And she's saying, loved. And he's saying, no, you love me. I know you do. Everything is real between us, violence. The rest I can explain if you give me enough time. And she's kind of just says, well, I believe you, but I don't trust you anymore because you didn't bring me in. And the fact that Tern's guilt, she's really upset with her dragons. And Anna kind of says, we chose you, it's fine, don't worry about it. And Tern feels really guilty, and she feels that feeling. It overwhelms her anger, and she can't be angry anymore because she knows how bad he feels about it. And then we get another thing about her dad saying, Dad didn't just give me a rare book, he gave me a forbidden one. And someone had commented on one of our posts about this book, about how maybe Daddy Sorengail had written the book himself. I'm not convinced, but it could be really cool if that was the case. But the fact that Rhiannon also had those stories when she was a child, and these stories, I guess he could have just written down those stories. There's no reason why not. And it'd be really cool if he did, because he's the one scribe that's trying to get the truth out. So we'll see, won't we, I think. And the scribes just hold all the power.
Yeah, for me, to be honest, the interesting thing will be find out the real reasons of Daddy Sorengail death, because I find it really suspicious that he died when maybe he's getting so close to maybe to prove that everything that Fen Riorson was saying was true. So I don't know if it was because the truth was so hard for him that
he was killed.
100%
he was killed.
Yeah, been poisoned.
He was executed.
Okay. Yeah. Because even Violet, she's been poisoning the people with different stuff to make him sick. But maybe it's somebody giving something to make it sick.
You'd think he'd recognised it though, because he is supposed to be a poisons master, which is interesting. I've got some issues with the outpost. Why is the design of the outpost exactly the same? She said it's an exact replica of Montserrat Square thing. Isn't that a bit of a security risk? Because if flyers infiltrate one, then they know the layout of the other. You'd think they would shake it up a bit. I don't know, I'm not a military expert. I know that you've got to build things quickly in war, and you've got to build things... So maybe it's easier, isn't it? But
yeah, it makes sense with houses. When you see there's a lot of blood, all the houses look exactly the same. You make just one blueprint, and then with the same thing, you build as many as you want. But yeah, with a military thing... They could only
afford one architect, obviously, and I was like, copy-paste.
But you will expect in each region, you will have different needs, so different layouts for the, the environment, or how they can be attacked or anything. Yeah. So it will be designed to protect that specific place. But yeah, I find it weird as well.
Yeah. And I've got some questions about Dane's dad. So how long do you think it takes to empty an outpost? And where did they go? So I think this was planned, wasn't it? It wasn't that he just decided to send them there yesterday. He had to empty the outpost, which means he either had some intelligence that the Venom were on their way, and he cleared the outpost, or he lured them. He found a way of luring them there. So I think it's the latter. I think Dane's dad is well in with the Venom, or knows how to deal with, or knows how to get them there. Why did he risk the news getting out? Or was he just so sure that they would die that he didn't think it would happen? Like, I don't know what came first. Did they empty the post because they knew the venom were on the way and they had no hope of winning? Were they just surrendering that bit because Riorson has changed hands so many times they don't really care? And was he kind of protecting the news from spreading in? And they thought, well, now that's empty, let's send him there. I don't think it was that, because the Athbine information that Dane took, there's a definite reason why it was there. So I think what happened was that Dane's dad cleared the outpost, and I think we do know this, he cleared it purely for war games, and then he got the venom to come. I know that's a big accusation on Dane's dad, but I think we've got the evidence.
For me, the hard thing to think is the logistic to carry on with this kind of plan, because these places, they are not even hours away, they're like days away, isn't it? How you manage to get like the communication, because you had to tell to these people to leave, and they had to respond, yeah, we're leaving, whatever. And then
he's been planning this. I think he's been planning this for months.
Well, I don't think so, because I think everything consists to Dane, the information that he's getting with Violet, and that's recently. So, for what it comes to my mind is the Colonel Athos. He knows most of the stuff that's going on in the areas. So I think maybe that area would be attacked by Venoms, and maybe there was just basic protection. So it wasn't 200. It's going to say there were maybe 10, 20 people there because they've been attacking or whatever. So they maybe...
Well, wouldn't there be more people if there were more attacks?
To protect the riders, or...
No, because then what? I guess maybe they just decided that outpost, because the wards don't stretch that far, maybe they're like, well, let's just surrender that. And yeah, maybe.
Yes, but the point is, for me, is that, okay, you know that there's a hot zone. If you go in there, you're more likely you will die. So what he does is that, okay, we have these battle games now, so the people who is there, they just need to leave. And because Venoms are constantly in this area, he's going to send all the marked ones there.
I don't think they are constantly in the area, because the flyers come and say they're on their way, they're heading this way. So I don't think they're constantly attacking.
So it's like they know, but
no, we know. Well, we know. Like, you'll find out in the next couple of chapters what they're there for, and I think
it's going to be Violet, isn't it? They're looking for Violet, maybe. Or
that's an interesting guess. But you find out anyway, and I think it's 100% Dane's dad's doing.
Okay, you think that he is definitely somehow in contact with the Venoms, or he has something to do with this?
Yeah, I don't know if he's in contact with them. He might be. In fact, now I think he is, because of something that happens in Iron Flame. But I'm not supposed to have new theories while I'm talking, because they're not fully formed. But yeah, I think he's in contact with the Venom. And I don't think that means that he's in contact with people in the Barrens. I think there's venom closer than you think. I'll Miss You, Violet. That comes back. Xaden, though, is still convinced here. And this is, that hill I was going to die on, where Dane doesn't need to touch your face. Xaden's still convinced he does, which makes me think maybe I'm wrong.
Yeah.
Because Xaden knows everything. So maybe I won't die on the hill. Maybe I'll just sit up there for a little while, still looking around to see if...
Yeah, but in the beginning, I think was Dane the one who said it's not the face. They need to tell
the temple.
To get the memory. But now Xaden is saying, have you been touching your face?
Yeah, like
the temple, the face. But maybe that's what Xaden think. But
yeah, because things have changed.
Yeah, exactly. And we don't know how strong it's gonna be then with this sickness, because like we said in the beginning, maybe it will come to the point that he doesn't need to touch.
Sorry, yawning. Yeah. Violet recognises Colonel Atos's handwriting straight away, like she's grown up with it. Birthday cards, Christmas cards, all of that. So yeah, that's another thing, that it's unmistakable that it's Dane's dad that's done this.
Yes.
And we end the chapter with him saying, "This isn't your fault. This isn't your fault. You couldn't have done anything about it. It was Dane, and we've been sent here to die."
Yes.
Really dramatic. And that is the end of my long bullet point list of things. This really is such good storytelling. And I know that people can criticise, or people can say things don't add up or whatever, but this really, really is good storytelling. And I am reading it for, I don't know, maybe the 5th time, and I still think it's so exciting.
You start to find out more things every time that you start reading.
Yeah, she's a genius. She puts in little clues that but I say little clues, they're blindingly obvious, but you only see them when you know what's happened.
Yeah.
And that's why I'm so excited to get stuck into Iron Flame, because I haven't read that as many times. I've read that twice. And I've never actually physically read it. So when I say I've read it, I've listened to the audiobook twice. I've not physically read it. And I've picked up so much more from physically reading Fourth Wing that I'm really excited. I am backing us to get Violet's signet. I'm backing us to work out some of the stuff that's going to happen in Onyx Storm.
Yes, we still have plenty of time before Onyx Storm is released, so we'll definitely come with some theories, some cool stuff when we go to Iron Flame together, and then we can be in the same page.
Just totally open every week.
Yes.
Cool. Well, I think that's the end of our chapter review. We've gone quite long tonight, so we won't do on the mat. So yeah.
Yes. So, if you're making this long,
congratulations!
Yes, congratulations! Thank you very much.
You graduated?
Yeah, hopefully you didn't die.
Oh God, don't laugh!
And thank you very much for listening to Faithfully Fantasy,
the husband and wife podcast, talking all things fantasy fiction.
You can find us on social media. If you're not following us already, you can find a lot of fun things, a lot of theories. Just remember there's at Faithfully Fantasy Pod, and you can get more stuff from us.
Yeah, visit www.faithfullyfantasy.com to learn more about us if you haven't already. And we've got some really cool things planned that will be coming to the website very soon.
We really hope that you enjoyed this episode. We'll see you next week with the final episode for this chapter. We're gonna be with chapters 36 to 39.
39, yeah, and then we'll do a bonus separate one on the Xaden point of view chapters that were released afterwards. So see you next week for more Dragons, Lightning and Shadow.